The first alert rippled through Aegis 1 minutes before dawn. Commander Elena Rizel was halfway through her rotation reports when the tactical display flared crimson and the station shuddered from a shockwave no one had expected. She snapped upright. Status. Lieutenant Mara Solis' voice carried a brittle edge. Object detected in upper orbit. Velocity unstable. Trajectory is decaying fast, looks like an uncontrolled descent. Elena stepped toward the central viewport. Earth's curve gleamed below, a quiet blue arc, serene and oblivious. Above it, a streak of molten light tore across the darkness, shedding fragments as it spiraled downward. "Is that one of ours?" she asked. "Negative," Mara answered. "Signature is foreign. No coalition imprint. No transponder. Composition reads, nothing on record." A silent weight settled in Elena's chest. 4 years, Earth listened to empty skies. Now something unknown was falling toward the planet, burning through orbit like a dying comet. "Put the object on main. Get me magnification." "Yes, Commander." The image flickered into clarity. The craft wasn't human. It looked grown rather than built, smooth organic plating, lattice ribs glowing faint blue beneath scorched surface layers. Small pulses ran across its structure, as if it still fought to stay alive. "Heat blooms inside the hull," Mara added. "Something's moving." Elena counted 3 seconds of silence before making the call. "Launch interception drones. We stabilize whatever's left before it crashes into a city." "Drones away." The station trembled again as the interceptors shot forward, engines flaring white. Elena watched their approach feed, metallic spheres gliding toward a vessel on the brink of disintegration. Another alarm erupted. "Commander," Mara shouted. "We're receiving a transmission." A distorted sound filled the command deck, choked breaths, rising panic, a voice layered with harmonics their translators struggled to comprehend. "Assist, spiraling, dying star, cannot, help." Elena froze at the raw terror in the transmission. It wasn't aggressive. It wasn't posturing. It was pleading. "Route it through translation filters," she ordered. The AI struggled, reshaping the tones into broken speech. "Unknown entity, requesting rescue, catastrophic failure." Humanity's first message from beyond the stars, and it was a cry for help. The drones reached the collapsing craft. Their stabilizers locked on, slowing the descent enough to steer it toward the ocean instead of populated land. But the hull ruptured before contact. A pod ejected from its side, flung violently as debris scattered through the thermosphere. "Track the pod," Elena demanded. "Heat signature isolated," Mara replied. "Course intersects our orbit." Elena felt the tension rise. "Prepare retrieval bay. Full containment protocols. No assumptions." The pod neared Aegis 1, spinning like a loosened drill bit. Automated clamps extended from the station's exterior, locking onto it moments before it would have ricocheted away. The deck tremored as the cargo arm reeled it in. A medical team rushed to the docking ring, pressure suits sealed, instruments ready. Elena followed, silent, pulse steady despite the storm of speculation suddenly unleashed across every secure channel on Earth. The pod hissed open. Bitter, metallic air spilled out, tinged with something floral and electric. A small figure lay inside, limbs curled in pain. Not mechanical. Not artificial. Alive. Elena stepped closer. The being was slight, slender-boned, with translucent skin that shimmered under the lights. Its eyes, large, silver, liquid, darted open the moment it sensed movement. Fear radiated from it like heat. When it spoke, the words spilled out in trembling waves. "Do not harm." Elena stopped, palms open to show she carried nothing. "You're safe. You're aboard a research station in orbit above Earth. My name is Elena Rizel." The creature, its voice higher now, almost melodic, studied her face with desperate caution. "You are human." It sounded the word as if it carried a myth behind it. A doctor scanned the being with slow, gentle motions. Vitals irregular but stable. No immediate trauma. Severe exhaustion. Elena crouched slightly, lowering her line of sight. "We intercepted your distress signal." We didn't shoot you down. We're trying to help. Its gaze flicked to the medical tools and back to her. We believed humans were far away from contact protocols. We were forbidden to approach your star. Elena's breath caught. Contact protocols? Forbidden? Before she could push further, the station lights dimmed. A tremor passed through the deck. Then the communications boards erupted with cascading streams of unknown symbols, hundreds at once, flooding every channel. Mara's voice crackled through Elena's comm. Commander, we're being scanned. Not by a ship, by multiple sources across the system. Elena straightened. Routing. Deep space relays. Unidentified arrays. Something just woke up out there. The alien in the pod curled inward. They know. I crashed. They will not remain silent. Who? Elena asked sharply. The Council, the Galaxy, all who feared your world. The deck went quiet. Even the medical staff paused. Elena leaned in. Why fear us? We've never left our own star. They fear what you become, the being whispered. They watch your wars, your inventions, your resilience. You rise quickly. Too quickly. A new alert sounded across the speakers, multiple incoming transmissions, all encrypted in formats the station's AI had never seen. Screens filled with alien glyphs. Then one of them resolved into a face, angular, pale, eyes like polished obsidian. Arrogant, controlled, self-assured. Elena didn't need a translator to read the contempt in his expression. I am High Lord Varelthari of the Draxuan Collective, the figure announced. Humanity has violated restricted space and endangered interstellar order. Release the fugitive to our custody. Elena kept her face still. The vessel was dying when we found it. We answered a distress signal. That is not a violation. Varelthari's head tilted with a predatory calm. Your species' ignorance does not exempt you from judgment. The alien in the pod recoiled. Elena positioned herself between them instinctively. We don't hand over someone who asked for help, she said. A faint smile curved across Varelthari's lips. Your defiance will be noted. A hearing will be convened. Humanity's fate will be decided. The signal cut abruptly. Mara's voice returned. Commander. Earth Command requests your presence. They want you to represent us at whatever this hearing is. Elena looked down at the trembling, silver-eyed being clinging to consciousness. First contact wasn't a discovery. It was a summons. She exhaled once, steady and resolved. Prepare transport protocols. We're going to meet the Galaxy. The diplomatic shuttle rose from Earth's upper dock layers like a steel arrow, its engines humming through Elena's boots. She stood near the forward viewport, watching the atmosphere fall away until the planet became a luminous sphere suspended in the void. Behind her, the rescued alien, Scyther rested in a containment recliner, still frail but alert enough to observe their departure with quiet anxiety. This vessel, primitive design, Scyther murmured, voice faint but steady. Yet functional. Humans build with resilience. Elena allowed a small, dry smile. We build with what we've got. Your strength lies there, Scyther whispered. Adaptation. Elena didn't answer. She'd spent the last 12 hours reviewing diplomatic briefs, threat analyses, and every scrambled transmission intercepted from the Council, fragments full of panic, warnings, and disdain. None spoke of goodwill. The shuttle pierced the event horizon of a pre-established worm line. Light inverted, space folded into itself, and the universe snapped open again around them. A lattice of colossal structures filled the darkness, rings, towers, spires, and luminous webs extending across a planetary arc. Kwaya Voss, the pilot announced quietly. The Council world. Elena stepped closer to the viewport. The world below glowed with emerald and gold patterns, its cities arranged like precise constellations. Orbital towers floated above the surface, tethered by shimmering energy lines that pulsed in soft rhythms. Fleets of alien vessels glided in synchronized formations, each one distinct in design yet unmistakably more advanced than anything Earth had built. Mara Solis' voice echoed from her earpiece. Commander, visual recognition confirms 19 species in orbit. Elena inhaled slowly. And every one of them watching us. The shuttle descended through atmospheric currents alive with floating bioluminescent organisms that drifted like drifting lanterns. When they reached the primary landing concourse, dozens of alien envoys stood in arranged tiers, their robes and armor reflecting the city's crystalline glow. Some observed with open curiosity. Most stared with caution. A few recoiled. Cytherayu braced herself, releasing a subdued sigh. Their reaction is predictable. Humans are not meant to be seen yet. Elena adjusted her collar. Too late for that. The shuttle doors opened with a soft chime. Elena stepped out first, boots contacting the glass-like ground that rippled with faint light beneath her. The air carried a crisp scent, metal blended with something floral and unfamiliar. A tall figure approached immediately. He had elongated limbs, pale emerald skin, and eyes that darkened with shifting pigment as he studied her. "Human representative," he said, voice smooth and melodic. "I am Archeon of the Lyrian delegation. I've been assigned as your escort to the chamber." Elena nodded politely. "Commander Elena Rizel, acting envoy for Earth." His gaze flicked to Cytherayu, who walked behind her with careful steps. "Your companion is the one who initiated the disturbance." "She broadcast a distress call," Elena replied. "We responded." Arsine's expression, something between curiosity and doubt, never fully revealed itself. "Follow me." They moved through towering halls carved from luminous stone. Everything glowed softly, pulsing as though the building itself breathed. The passageway opened into an immense chamber, filled with upward-curving tiers. Representatives of countless species sat beneath arcing light structures that formed a dome above them. At the chamber's center, surrounded by light columns, stood High Lord Varelthari. Elena recognized him instantly. That same cold, polished face from the transmission, sharp bones, dark eyes, posture that radiated superiority. Nearby envoys stepped aside as he approached, his presence commanding the room like a gravitational pull. "Commander Rizel," Varelthari said. "Humanity sends a soldier as its emissary." Elena met his gaze evenly. Humanity sends someone who responds to distress signals instead of ignoring them. A faint twitch crossed his lips. "Your deflection is noted." Murmurs rippled through the chamber, translated whispers layered over alien dialects. Archeon gestured for Elena to step into the central circle. Cytherayu remained behind, watched by several wary guards. Varelthari raised his voice. "Esteemed Council. Humanity has forcibly entered early contact. They intercepted a prohibited vessel, extracted classified individuals, and triggered galactic surveillance protocols." "That's false," Elena said, stepping forward. "We saved a life from a failing ship. Our station reacted to a distress call." Varelthari gestured, and a hologram flared to life. It displayed footage of Earth's wars, riots, nuclear tests, and violent conflicts, footage pulled from decades of human media. Each scene isolated, exaggerated, stripped of context. "This species," Varelthari continued, "has a history of self-destruction. Their aggression, if extended to interstellar scale, would endanger thousands of worlds." Elena felt a burn rise in her chest. "You're showing fragments," she said. "Humanity is flawed. We know that. We fight, stumble, rebuild. But we also heal, innovate, and cooperate. We're not the caricature you're painting." Varelthari tilted his head. "You speak as if virtue compensates for potential threat. I'm saying your argument is based on fear, not fact." A counselor with luminescent veins leaned forward. "Earth is young. Unprepared. Why should they join our order?" "We didn't ask to join," Elena replied. "We didn't seek this encounter. But we won't be judged without representation." The chamber fell silent. Even Varelthari paused. Archeon stepped forward. "By council protocol, any species encountering the network must undergo evaluation." Varelthari's gaze sharpened. "I propose accelerated assessment. Immediate judgment." Elena's jaw tightened. "You want a trial without hearing our side. I have heard enough." Before Varelthari could continue, Cytherayu's voice pierced the room. "High Lord, your claims omit vital information." Every head turned. Scyther stood tall now, silvery skin gleaming under the chamber lights. My vessel malfunctioned. Humans risked their own safety to save me. They showed compassion, not violence. Varelthari's expression hardened. You misunderstand the broader danger. No, Scyther countered. You fear their growth. Whispers rose again. Elena held her ground. Archeon lifted a luminous staff. Order. The council will determine a path. A holographic display rose from the floor, forming intricate patterns. Earth will undergo diplomatic evaluation through controlled engagement. A test of judgment and restraint. Varelthari's smile did not reach his eyes. Let us see how humanity behaves under pressure. Elena exhaled slowly. We'll participate. Archeon nodded. Prepare your team. You begin at first light. As the council dismissed, Varelthari stepped close enough for only Elena to hear. You cannot win. Your nature betrays you. Elena held his gaze. Then you've already miscalculated. For the first time, a flicker of genuine irritation passed through his composure. Elena turned away, guiding Scyther toward the exit. The galaxy had already judged humanity. Now, humanity would answer not with fear, but with resolve. And Elena planned to make sure the council remembered Earth for the right reasons. The evaluation arena looked nothing like the tactical simulations Elena had trained in on Earth. Instead of metallic walls and cold terminals, the chamber resembled a living structure, curving membranes of translucent material, illuminated by veins of light that pulsed like a heartbeat. The council observers hovered behind a transparent barrier, watching every movement inside. Archeon stood beside Elena as her small team entered. The test centers on diplomacy and crisis management. You will be placed between two simulated factions whose dispute threatens escalation. Your task is simple: resolve without violence. Elena nodded. Understood. He studied her face. Do not underestimate this trial. Some here hope you stumble. Then I won't give them that satisfaction. Archeon stepped back, expression unreadable. May your choices speak for your people. The chamber sealed, and the environment shifted instantly. Structures blossomed around them like unfolding petals, forming a divided settlement. At one end, crystalline tents housed a faction of translucent beings shaped like flowing water. At the other, armored reptilian figures paced in rigid lines. Both sides radiated agitation. Lieutenant Mara Solis whispered, "Commander, their tension levels are off the charts." "Keep formation," Elena replied. "Open a channel." Before she could initiate dialogue, the air trembled. A ripple of static rolled across the simulation. Lights flickered. The ground beneath them quaked with a pulse far stronger than the programmed scenario should allow. Mara stiffened. That's not part of the parameters. Elena's instincts sharpened. Monitor shifts. Something's wrong. Suddenly, the watery beings panicked, their forms destabilizing like boiling liquid. The reptilian faction responded with defensive stances, their armors locking into attack mode. The chamber announced no escalation. It simply happened as if someone overrode the controls. A harsh buzz crackled through the chamber speakers, followed by a distorted voice. "Human team, respond." It wasn't Archeon. It was Varelthari. Elena's jaw tightened. "What did you do?" His voice slithered through the static. "A realistic test requires pressure. Let us see how your species fares under genuine threat." Mara cursed under her breath. His corrupted the simulation architecture. Elena raised her voice. "Shut off the override." Varelthari ignored her. "The factions perceive danger. Their weapons are active. The chamber's safety protocols are offline. Survive, if that is your expertise." The transmission cut. Elena exhaled once. Steady. Focused. "All right," she said. "We adapt." Mara, stabilize environmental conditions. Tarlan, open non-lethal uplink. I'll mediate manually. One step at a time. No panic. She approached the crystalline faction first. Their forms flickered uncontrollably, colors shifting in chaotic bursts. "Listen to me," she said calmly. "You're reacting to false stimuli. You are not under attack. A trembling figure rippled beside her. Its voice sounded like wind through glass. Heat spike. Compression wave. Danger. That's an error, Elena said. Something corrupted the environment. Hold your formation. They stabilized slightly, though their movements remained sharp. Meanwhile, the reptilian group advanced. Armor plates clicked into combat mode. Mara whispered, "Commander, they're reading the water being's fluctuations as hostile posturing. Then we remove the trigger." Elena turned to Tarlan. "Redirect atmospheric stabilizers to center field. Lower thermal gradients." On it. The chamber lights dimmed, replaced by steady blue waves. The heat lines on the crystalline beings cooled. Their forms stopped shaking. The reptilian warriors hesitated. Their leader examined the altered conditions, mandibles clicking softly. Elena stepped toward them. "No faction is attacking the other," she said clearly. "Observe the environment." It was manipulated. One warrior hissed. "Explain the chaos." "Sabotage," Elena said, voice controlled. "Someone external disrupted the test. We're fixing it." The leader studied her. Intelligent. Suspicious. But no longer primed for assault. Then the chamber convulsed. A shockwave rippled outward, slicing across both factions. The watery beings splintered into unstable filaments. The reptilian leader staggered, armor flaring in defensive reflex. Mara's shout pierced the air. "Commander, structural integrity at 30%. This is going critical." Elena spun back to her team. "Source." "Hardwired override," Mara answered. His forcing system collapse. The chamber's ceiling cracked open into a jagged rift of raw energy. Currents surged downward like lightning. Elena leaped into action. "Tarlan, reroute energy surge to containment grid." "Mara, isolate the two factions. Don't let them collide in panic." As her team worked, she ran toward the core column, the luminous spire anchoring the simulation. Panels flashed wild sequences no manual could decipher. She slammed her hand against the console. Aegis 1 command override protocol, Rizel Delta 7. Execute stabilization. The system resisted. She forced her voice steady. "You want to see who we are? Then watch." She keyed a manual bypass, fingers moving in decisive, practiced motions. Static clawed at her ears, and heat pressed against her face. The chamber lurched. Sparks rained. Then, silence. The energy rift shuddered and folded back into the ceiling as if swallowed whole. The factions collapsed to the ground, unharmed but dazed. The chamber's heart dimmed, settling into a soft pulse. Mara lowered her scanner. Stabilization achieved. Barely. Elena inhaled, finally allowing tension to ease from her shoulders. Secure both factions. Confirm no casualties. As her team attended to the delegates, the chamber wall dissolved into a panoramic transparency. Council members stared down in stunned quiet. Archeon was the first to speak. "Commander Rizel, you protected every participant." Elena wiped a streak of soot from her forehead. "We didn't come to wage war." Varelthari stepped into view beside the observers, posture rigid. His eyes held a narrow, simmering fury. "You interfered with a sacred assessment," he said coldly. "You sabotaged it," Elena replied. "Your override nearly killed half the council's delegates." His jaw tightened. "Prove it." A soft chime sounded behind him. Scytherayu stepped into the viewing platform, holding a crystalline disc that glowed with recorded data. "I can," she said firmly. "Your command codes activated the breach." Gasps whispered through the chamber. Varelthari's composure cracked, just for an instant. Archeon raised his staff. "The council has seen enough. An inquiry will be conducted." Varelthari hissed, "You defend these primitives over your own security." Archeon answered with calm precision. "I defend truth." Elena met Varelthari's glare without flinching. "Humanity isn't your threat. Your lies are." The chamber lights shifted, signaling dismissal. As Elena and her team exited the arena, Scytherayu approached her quietly. "You just altered the council's perception. They won't forget this. Elena exhaled. Then we keep going. Outside, the alien sky shimmered with unfamiliar constellations. Somewhere above, Vorelthari's influence fractured but not gone. The next confrontation would be decisive. The council chamber felt colder on the final day. Not physically, HFY maintained exact climate control, but in atmosphere. Representatives filled the broad tiers with tense silence, their jeweled garments and armor glinting under the dome's shifting lights. After the sabotage exposure, no one trusted Vorelthari's intentions, yet none underestimated his influence. Elena stood in the central ring again, posture straight despite the fatigue weighing her shoulders. She'd spent the night reviewing council precedents and Vorelthari's military history. The challenge he invoked, the right of dominion, was ancient, rarely used, and designed to decide matters of leadership and trust. Archeon approached her with a solemn nod. The right requires non-lethal engagement. A strategic duel through simulated fleets, resources, and political scenarios. Victory is granted to the one who demonstrates superior reasoning. And the stakes? Elena asked. The victor's recommendation becomes binding. If Vorelthari wins, Earth is classified as a preemptive threat. Elena's jaw tightened. And if I win? Humanity gains recognized sovereignty and diplomatic standing. Archeon paused. No species has ever entered the council through a rite. Your odds are improbable. Elena allowed a faint, calm breath. Good thing improbable is our specialty. The chamber darkened as a circular platform rose from the floor. Holographic nodes flickered to life around it, forming a vast projection of star systems, trade corridors, and hypothetical regions of conflict. Vorelthari stepped onto the opposite side, robes trailing in disciplined folds, expression carved from stone. His voice carried across the chamber. Humanity claims adaptability, resourcefulness, compassion. Demonstrate these ideals, or accept the judgment you fear. Elena met his stare. We're not the ones afraid. A ripple of quiet murmurs spread through the spectators. Archeon lifted his staff. Begin. The projection ignited. Two simulated realms materialized like mirrored halves, one in Elena's control, the other under Vorelthari. Both contained planetary colonies, research stations, agricultural nodes, and merchant routes populated with coded AI factions. The first event triggered immediately, a border dispute between independent miners and a military patrol. Vorelthari responded swiftly. He deployed strategic pressure, blockades, intimidation, and controlled escalation. His moves were flawless, calculated, and ruthless. Elena observed his tactic and took an entirely different route. She reached out to local leaders, brokered short-term resource agreements, redirected patrol paths, and provided non-military support. Her approach kept civilian casualties at zero. The first scenario resolved. The council recorded their scores. Vorelthari narrowed his eyes. You choose inefficient methods. I choose sustainable ones, Elena said. The second event unfolded, a sudden famine in a remote colony cluster. Vorelthari seized the opportunity to expand influence by offering aid in exchange for territorial control. His swift assistance won short-term loyalty. Elena focused on stabilizing supply chains. She established temporary relief shelters, rerouted merchant vessels, and recruited volunteer scientists from within the simulation to develop rapid-yield crops. Her gains were gradual, but durable. Again, the council murmured in discussion. Vorelthari leaned slightly forward. You misunderstand the game, Rizel. The right is about dominance, not charity. Elena replied, dominance collapses under pressure. Stability does not. The next scenario formed with jarring speed, a rogue faction threatening orbital infrastructure. Elena acted first this time, drawing on years of tactical command aboard Aegis I. She deployed defense grids, evacuated vulnerable zones, and negotiated with the rogue leader by exposing the misinformation fueling their uprising. Vorelthari countered with overwhelming force. He attempted to crush the uprising outright, but his aggression destabilized surrounding regions, creating aftershocks that cost him strategic points. By the fourth scenario, sweat beaded lightly along Elena's brow. The right demanded mental precision, and she felt the pressure in every second. Yet she remained focused, her thoughts sharp, her voice steady. Then the final event initiated, unexpected, vast, and clearly designed for a climactic test. A simulated supernova burst in a crowded sector, threatening dozens of colonies across both territories. Eliminate all threats, Vorelthari said coolly. The objective is survival. Elena sensed the trap. If she focused on protecting only her own side, she would match Vorelthari's selfish method. But if she overextended and tried to save everyone, she risked spreading her resources too thin. For a single moment, the chamber quieted until her heartbeat felt loud in her ears. Then she made her decision. Tarlan, she said. Redirect solar shields across shared boundaries. Pair our emergency responders with local authorities on his side. Mara whispered, Commander, you're helping his colonies too? We're helping people. Her voice carried a clarity that drew attention from even the most jaded observers. Elena coordinated a sweeping network of rescue shuttles, overlapping shield arrays, and evacuation routes that prioritized the greatest number of lives regardless of political lines. It was unorthodox, risky, slow, but it worked. Her fleets moved like an orchestra, precise, balanced, human in their improvisation. They mitigated damage, prevented chain reactions, and preserved the stability of surrounding systems. When the star finally collapsed, Elena's side remained intact, and an unexpected number of Vorelthari's worlds was saved as well. Vorelthari stared at the final readout with disbelief. His realm survived only because Elena extended aid across the divide. He scowled. Sentiment compromised your efficiency. No, Elena said. It broadened it. Archeon stepped forward. Scores compiled. Silence descended like a held breath. Harmony Index, Human Representative leads. Strategic Sustainability, Human Representative leads. Crisis Resolution, Human Representative leads. Authority Engagement, Human Representative leads. Vorelthari's posture stiffened rigidly. Archeon concluded, by right of dominion, Commander Elena Rizel has achieved superior command performance. Her recommendation is binding. A quiet shock rippled through the chamber. Elena exhaled slowly, the weight of the moment sinking in. Archeon raised his voice. Humanity is hereby recognized as a sovereign species with full diplomatic rights. Earth is granted provisional entry into the Council of Civilizations. The crowd erupted not loudly, but with a flurry of shifting colors, vibrating harmonics, and rippling movement from dozens of species. Curiosity replaced fear. Respect edged into the atmosphere. Vorelthari's jaw clenched as guards approached him. His voice dropped to a venomous murmur. You have opened a door your species cannot comprehend. Elena met his glare without hesitation. We'll walk through it anyway. Security drones surrounded him. Archeon spoke firmly. High Lord Vorelthari, you are detained pending inquiry into sabotage and misconduct. For the first time, his composure cracked into something sharp and venomous. You think humans will strengthen this galaxy? You will tear it apart. Elena answered quietly, we'll rebuild what others try to break. He was escorted out, fury simmering behind unreadable eyes. After the chamber emptied, Scytherayu found Elena near the observation ledge overlooking Kyavos. The alien city shimmered below, towers of glass, drifting luminous organisms, and constellations woven into the skyline. You did what no one expected, Scytherayu said softly. Eliminating expectations is kind of our thing, Elena replied. Scytherayu's silver eyes reflected the cityscape. Your species stands at the threshold of a wider universe. This moment will echo. Elena glanced at the stars above. Then we step forward wisely. A quiet breeze, engineered, yet pleasant, moved through the chamber. Humanity had arrived. Not as intruders. Not as threats. But as equals. And the galaxy would never be the same. If you'd like, I can now expand all chapters into a full novel, create a Reddit HFY style post, or write a continuation arc. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check important info.